Welcome to Snake Eater. This is our newest build. This comes from a customer who watches our YouTube channel. The best kind of customer. He knows the kind of work we do. He knows that it's not cheap and he understands what it takes to get this stuff done. He hit us up for an estimate. I threw it his way and he said, that's right where I want to be. Shipped the car to us from Florida. He lives in another state and let's take a look at it. I'll talk you through it. Good looking car, little too low for him and I think for me too. It looks good static, but I just feel like it's not going to ride that great. We haven't driven it much. It just arrived on Sunday. But overall, a really nice build. Hydraulic roller, 350 right here. Engine bay overall, pretty clean. They weren't going too crazy with it. Nice, clean little engine bay here. Overall, pretty good build. We could sit here and pick it apart a million different ways. Everybody can do that. The fuel pump is in the engine bay. That's not how you do that. So that wouldn't last long. That'd cause some issues, but that's why the car's here, right? We're gonna get it right. We're gonna make this thing into a badass driver. The heart of the build, we're gonna go with GM Performance LS3 Connect and Cruise package. Now, normally we like to buy a crate engine, crate transmission, piece everything together separate, spec everything out, but these GM Connect and Cruise packages use factory PCMs, and when you're not looking for wild tunability, this one's gonna have 480 horse, 470 pound-feet of torque with a 4L70 transmission. When you're not looking for that, you're looking mainly for reliability. It's really difficult to beat the OEM PCM and transmission controller. We talked about it, we opted for that. Can you make more power? Yes. Can you get maybe a little better transmission? Probably not. They're good. I like them. He's got another 55 on an Art Morrison chassis with the 430 horse LS3 in it. And yes, this one's gonna have more power. That Art Morrison one, I'll go over what we're gonna do chassis wise on this thing. That Art Morrison one's gonna be optimized suspension geometry. It's gonna hook really well. Don't get me wrong, but we're gonna tune this engine and transmission up and this thing is gonna smoke that Art Morrison 55's ass. I guarantee it. We're gonna make that 4L70 come alive because from the factory, I know they didn't tune that thing. I'm just gonna take a wild guess. I bet they did not tune that PCM or that transmission control module to really make that drivetrain come alive. They tuned it to survive warranties and blah, 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 and all that stuff. You can make those Connect and Cruise packages really come alive with just a simple transmission tune. LS3, Connect and Cruise, tuck the PCM, but make it serviceable. That's what we're all about serviceability, performance, reliability, drivability. And in order to have that, you gotta have serviceability, right? That's pretty much it for the engine bay. Obviously, we gotta change the radiator. We gotta do the exhaust. Got to do the new front runner system, you know, everything that goes along with bringing this thing up into the modern age with an LS. So we'll go ahead and lift this thing up, show you underneath. Couple good reasons why we're also doing suspension and brakes on this thing.
One eternity later.
This is a slow lift.
Yeah.
It's not as slow going up as it is going down.
It's very slow going down.
Yeah.
Well, I'd rather kind of have that, especially with something heavy.
Yeah. Overall, again, really clean. This was a frame-off build. They did a really good job overall. Couple things are a little odd, so I want to direct your attention here. Your mounting bolt had to self-clearance pretty heavily on the inside of your rotor over here. This wear pattern lines up directly with that caliper mounting bolt there. And then you're just starting to get a little bit over here, or maybe it wasn't gonna get worse, but they are dragging ever so slightly. Irrelevant now, we're gonna be doing a full bare brakes package on this thing. Can't just make it go fast, gotta make it stop well too.
Bearings are shot.
Yeah, maybe you're misadjusted or you think they're bad.
Bearings are shot.
Yeah, on trust fill, you know. Maybe some wheel bearings, and then these don't look like a drop spindle to me, but we'll have to look and see because we're actually gonna raise this vehicle back up a little bit. This vehicle's really low right now. You can tell why. Just a lift block drop, or a drop block, lift block, drop block. They work the same depending on what side of the axle you put them on. So we're gonna get rid of that. Gotta do the cross member for the transmission. Used to be a 4-speed car. Phil pointed that out. So used to be a manual. Actually, maybe we ought to pitch that to him because he was saying, hey, I'd like a manual.
The hole's there.
Yeah, and that was kind of one of the holdups was transmission tunnel mods.
Yeah.
But I mean, actually, if you put a yeah, yeah. So you can see the floor pans here. Personally, I'd like to see maybe a little bit better seam work, and then yeah, see what's happening right here. Can you see that? Your seam sealer is getting soaked with some kind of a fluid from the vehicle. It's no longer sealing. Issue here, right? Your seam sealer is just it just comes right off. And that's because of transmission fluid coming out of this rear main seal, hitting the drive shaft, spraying up on here, and now you've got a potential corrosion point in your seam sealer. So that's why you want to seal it. Don't rely on seam sealer. You want to rely on your metal work, and then the seam sealer is a benefit. And I like to put the seam sealer on the inside as well. So I don't know if they did that too, but just putting a little smear on the inside kind of gives you double protection. It doesn't really cost much extra. This is factory. Phil pointed that out, that it's the red oxide primer underneath. I generally like to go with a roll-on coating underneath here, like a 2-part, or, I mean, they've got all kinds of spray-on Raptor liner and all that stuff now. Protect these things that are not meant to encounter, you know, petroleum-based fluids or whatever that is.
Yeah, when it comes to the older crew, they love seeing this.
Yeah,
I mean,
kind of all original.
Because, yeah, it's an original thing. And then, of course, you had your option for undercoating and everything else.
Yeah, overall, really,
not bad. It's like
yeah, it's a really clean build. Like I said, you could pick anybody's build apart.
Yeah.
Overall, you know, a couple minor things, and we'll pitch that to them about possibly doing some repairs while we're in here.
New bushings back here for this.
Yeah, so again, we're gonna be another
one's
thing.
fine,
So we're
that
doing a
one's
full bare brake package, Ford 9-inch, and then we're gonna do a Ride Tech street grip suspension that is a direct build for this. So this was not the build to buy the Art Morrison chassis and drop it on there for him. He's already got one like that. He wants one that's a little bit different. He lives in 2 different locations, so he probably wants a 55 at each house. I love it. He's gonna have 2 different animals. Why build the same car twice? If you like the styling, build it a little bit different. Obviously, new exhaust. We'll do an X pipe on it. One, it keeps more power, brings back some of the power that gets lost in the exhaust. It helps with exhaust scavenging and stuff, brings back a little bit of torque, and it makes those LS3s scream. Like it's gonna be rowdy. New sway bars, new suspension, 4-corner discs all the way around. Gonna do a EFI drop-in tank just to get it done, and then, you know, the full fuel system on it. You know,
Drive shaft.
yeah, I mean, the supporting accessories, those are the big parts of this build that are gonna happen. Like I said, there's a couple things, you know, you throw estimates to the customer without seeing the car, and they understand, hey, I haven't seen the car, I don't know, he understands. A couple small things pop up along the way. This one's not bad. Luckily, those brakes are gone anyways. Luckily, those lift blocks gonna be gone anyways. Any of these bushings that need to be replaced does not matter. This rear end, God forbid, these old 50, you know, Tri-5 and truck, early 50s GM with the dropout center section on them, or third member here. These things are expensive. What did we spend on a set of gears? It was like, yeah, it was like $1,100 for a limited slip one, and they're just not that widely available.
And
So-
it was not NOS, it was just a takeout.
yeah, like a reman or something.
Yeah.
They're just expensive. So these things, if they're good, keep them, but when they blow up, just get rid of them. They tend to be too expensive to rebuild. A lot of guys are switching them out. Oh, look, they started cutting this one and they gave up. That one,
Yeah.
we were kind of like, why didn't you just cut these off? And that one, somebody took an angle grinder to or a Sawzall and started. But yeah, good thing. These are all gonna be gone. We gotta keep making our notes. That way we can actually fully tighten up the estimate and the project scope and meet with the customer and let them know exactly, here's what we found, here's the parts we wanna use. You know, we like to give them part numbers, everything, so they can also research it, and then we'll have a meeting, and if he says, yeah, I love it, or no, I wanna change it, then we do it. We're building your car. We're just filling in the gap of physical labor and the knowledge, the engineering aspect of it, making sure when you press the brake pedal, your car is going to stop the way it should. I use brakes as an example because it's so common. So many of these cars come in, these high-dollar resto mods, and they have the full Willwood or the full bare brakes or whatever it is. They added front disc brakes, and they stop worse than the OEM vehicle. And it's because they didn't line up everything right. They're using the wrong brake line diameter, they're using the wrong master cylinder bore diameter, they're using something that wasn't made for power brakes. Like, there's any number of issues, but it's really nice when you get to start clean like we did with the Chevelle and just do everything all over again. You can dictate how you want that pedal to feel. You want a nice long pedal so you can really modulate the brake and determine exactly how much pressure you want to use, or do you want a tight pedal so when you just breathe on that thing, it freaking starts, you know, slamming you forward. That's up to the customer. We just make it happen. A couple other things I just want to show you guys. You can see this is a quarter panel replacement. We call these wide bodies. If you look up in here, you can see they replaced the quarter panel, but you can still see the original one. And then you see that weld seam, that corrosion going straight across, that's where they welded in the new quarter panel. And then you get further evidence here. So right there. So it's a new quarter panel laid on top of the old quarter panel, and that kind of helps you fit it up. The right way to do it is the difficult way to do it, and these have 6 body mounts on these Tri-5s. There's 3 on each side, and you have to make sure all the body mounts are good. You have to have good rubber, and you have to put it on a fixture table, and you got to make sure this thing is straight, because if you don't make sure this thing is straight and lined up, then when you go replacing panels and everything and you put it all back together, it's going to be, got to make sure it's all good, square, plumb, start square, finish square. That's what you got to do, and getting them square is hard and takes work. The way around that is to just not fully remove the old one and leave that in there. It's kind of an older way to do it, you know, and maybe a more budget-oriented way to do it. Overall, it came out good. Car looks nice.
We just added brake lines
Okay, yeah.
because the rubbers are, that one's got a hole in it.
Yeah.
How are the body mounts?
Look good.
Okay. That one, yeah, that's good. I thought that was.
They all look like they're pretty new.
This
Yeah.
little corroded right there. It's very
Okay.
good.
A little bit of rust. Might be just a little bit worth of spending a few hours just grinding some of this primer off. Just hitting it with a wire wheel and hitting it with a rust preventative coating. Just kind of making sure this thing lasts another 50 to 70 years, you know, without any corrosion issues.
I was gonna say pressure wash this rail here. It's full of
Yeah.
acorns and stuff, squirrels or mouses.
Yeah, see, this seam sealer unfortunately was not the, it may not be seam sealer. It
Could
looks
be,
like
you
it.
said, house caulking.
Could be,
bathroom
yeah,
caulking.
could just be caulking of some sort that somebody used. Misguided choice here, but it's clearly coming off.
Oh yeah. Yeah, mouse house.
I'm not sure what they were doing with the welder here.
So that
Maybe these are
patch-
pinholes or
that
what?
patch they made.
Yeah.
I guess they were trying to do it from up top, and it was just blowing right through.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's not even close to it.
I mean, who cares? It's still gonna look good when it's going down the road, but what you just wanna make sure is it's not gonna rust out. This car's going back to Florida. Overall, still a very nice build.
Like I said, I've seen
I would way
100 times
rather-
worse.
It's a good daily.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd
it's
way
a
rather
good-
drive and beat this car
Yeah.
and not pay for somebody that did a concourse restoration on a
Yeah.
car. Oh, look at that, dude. This axle is wrapping inside this, see it? So that's your axle, probably under acceleration, is twisting inside of these sway bar mounts here.
It's not fully tight here.
Yeah.
Because it's hitting the seam here. Same thing's going on that one. That one
Probably
looks
didn't
like
have
it
enough
moved.
thread to clamp it.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. and
Get some better
bushings.
U-joints. So
Good
we're-
thing these are going, this is all going away.
I could always make something that actually bolts together.
Yeah.
Just make an opposite side of this. It didn't have to do
Yeah,
nothing
I mean, I
special.
wonder if it'd be worth, you know, with a new 9-inch, possibly just welding some tabs onto, even if you just put something here to stop the rotation. I like getting customers, when it's in the budget, I like getting them a brand new rear end with a warranty, and then we'll cover the first 500 miles, gentle driving, all that stuff. Sign off on it, so if they ever have an issue, something doesn't last as long as it should have, then no big deal. But yeah, a nice 600 horsepower rated Ford 9-inch, which for a Ford 9-inch, 600 horsepower is probably just stock. You know, we'll call up Curry or whoever makes a nice drop-in Tri-5 one, keep the labor limited, let them spend some more money on other stuff. This ought to be a really fun build. Good couple months worth of work. The main benefit of putting an LS in a 55, if you're not trying to build a show-winning car, just buy as much off-the-shelf stuff as you can, keep labor limited, and let the customer spend more on horsepower, paint, however they want to enjoy it.
Drop it down and tell them about the inside too.
Oh yeah, let's check out the interior. So there's part of, I forgot they were doing interior on this one. I mean, a white would look really good too if you want to play that game. This was a big complaint from the customer, not complaint, concern. Does not like the color of the interior. It's really well done, but nobody can figure out why you would do this green with the yellow. You know, so again, luckily, you just buy a new carpet kit, some new kick panels, some new door panels, prep and paint the dash. Not too big of a deal. We're gonna do a buckets up front, bench in the back, and a custom center console. We're gonna actually put some CarPlay, you know, so there will be a touch of modern in here. You'll have a small screen, some cup holders. And that way he can actually use a navigation system and stuff like that, because like I said, he intends to drive this thing and take it places. And it's really nice having GPS. That's one of the things, like every time you're in the old car, for me, you've got your speedometer up because half your speedos in all your old cars don't work. They don't work, or they don't line up just right, and so you put it there. Or if you GPS out, you know, and you're sitting here holding that. I mean, they've got so many modern options now. All we've got to do is make a nice custom center console that puts that thing sitting right there. Put your cup in there, you can still see it, no big deal. Maybe go cover up that AC vent and move that into the center console a little bit. Kind of like a semi knee knocker. This is kind of a, if you look back in here, kind of a knee knocker, but the adjustments aren't on that centerpiece there. But we can swap those vents out and put them in the center console, and then, you know, give you a little bit. Put the vents in the center console, and then this thing with a nice 4-speed overdrive. So let's talk rear gears a little bit. So we're looking between 370 and 350 gears, somewhere in there. Difference is not that much on those two gear ratios. We're gonna figure out the final tire diameter if he's gonna stick with these wheels and tires, but we're gonna figure that out. And that's another thing that we'd love to just map out right, is your torque converter, your transmission with all your shift points, the drive shaft material, the weight, so you get your rotating mass right, rear end gearing, so that we could say, hey, here in Texas, speed limit 75 on I-10. I wanna be able to cruise 80 miles an hour at 2,500 or less RPM. And with these modern 4-speed transmissions, you get that real low first gear, so you can still smoke the tires and then get decent fuel mileage and cruisability. You're not worrying about overheating, you're not stressing the vehicle at all, and you're keeping up with traffic. It just is really badass when you have a nice car that can drive like a modern vehicle. I mean, you turn the key, it fires up every time. You leave it sit for a month and a half, 2 months, you don't sweat it. Come out, turn the key, fires up, hop on the highway, you cruise 40 minutes down the road to your favorite restaurant or the beach or whatever you're doing, pull it over, this thing doesn't bat an eye. You can do that with carbureted, it is possible, but they just tend to like a little bit of fiddling every now and then, and especially after they sit with these ethanol-based fuels in places where there's a lot of moisture in the air, especially Florida. We get a lot of customers from Florida with fuel injectors that needs servicing regularly because the ethanol content in the fuel just loves to pull moisture in there and just wreak havoc on the fuel system. If they don't winterize their fuel system before they shut the car down for, you know, the off season or whatever, not really winterize it in Florida, but if they're gonna let it sit for a while and you don't take the proper precautions, you're gonna end up redoing that whole fuel system, at least cleaning it out and changing the lines. So I love the trim on this car too, man. And you gotta love it. You gotta love it.
You can rent that out for $1,200 a month.
Yeah, what is this, dude? Is that
Polyglass,
the original,
man.
dude? That's like,
It's new too.
yeah. Oh, that's a new one?
It's a new one.
Oh,
It's
okay.
repop.
All right, so that pretty much is it. We're gonna go ahead and put together a project scope for the customer. A few minor adjustments, but overall, this is just a good, honest hot rod. Luckily, everything that was kind of not good is going away anyways. Brakes and bushings, suspension.
Look, watch this. It's remote start. Oh, hang on. See? Remote start. Timing's a little out of whack on it and stuff, but it's all getting pulled out anyways. It's probably gonna die.
AC blows cold. It took about a second and a half to shut off after I turned the key.
Yeah, that's the thing I've been noticing. I'm like, why is it doing that?
Probably needs a new ignition switch. I mean, I'm guessing, you tell me, but
I think there's some backfeeding going on.
I have not looked at the wiring on this thing. We should do that real quick. Let me talk to you people in home. So a lot of these people that say, oh, I got a buddy who does LS swaps for 6,500 bucks. I'm not gonna attack him personally. We fix a lot of those builds. Unfortunately, the reality is a lot of these older vehicles are not ready for modern electronics from an electrical perspective. So if you don't have a fresh wiring harness, you don't have a great ground strategy, you don't have good power strategy. We've had people bring us cars where they say, I took this thing to get a dyno tune. I waited 3 months in line, took my car there, and the tuner was like, get this thing out of here, get it to a mechanic, get it fixed because there is something going on. I can't tell you what it is, but this thing makes no power. The sensors are reading erratically. It's got big issues. And so they bring it here and we look at it, and it's usually like dang, what was the plan when it came to the power and ground strategy for the PCM, the motor? The sensors are shorting out. Like, you can pull the plug out of a sensor and pin it out, and there's continuity between power and ground. And it's like, there's just big problems. And so, yeah, you got the cheap LS swap, but it's unreliable. It can't be tuned. It's not running good. It just won't make as much power as it ever should have because it doesn't have good sensor readouts. You end up paying for that in the long run. I know there's always one person who says, oh, I spent X amount of dollars on my LS swap and it runs great. That's good, but that's the exception, less than the rule. Like I said, we fix a fair bit of LS swaps here. I mean, a lot of times the customers are so burned out with the car that they're like, just get it running right so I can sell it, because it's leaving them stranded places. The key's not doing anything occasionally. And then happened, remember that one car, it would get towed in here and it would fire up and run for us, but then the customer would take it. He'd get it hot after driving it for an hour, hour and a half or so, and he would shut it off at a gas station or something, fill it up, nothing. Crank, no start. Turns out heat soaking, couple other issues. We had to put in a couple new relays, all that stuff, got it running right. Those cheap LS swaps can come back and bite you, and they, more often than not, at least what we're seeing.
We're gonna have to rewire this car, Brad.
Huh?
So
Is it
we're gonna have
bad?
to rewire this whole car.
It looks like a Romex under there.
Is it bad?
It's bad. So they have the original fuse box in there that's full of rust and everything's just exposed. And there's like some wires next to it and stuff, and it looks like a homemade harness.
This is falling down.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at all this.
Butt connected onto original stuff. The wire, some wires are like hard as a rock. Manual, but the typical. I'm gonna put a buttload of red wire and just tape them together. Oh, I love that one.
Universal eBay.
Yeah, look at this.
Oh, hey, that's good ground.
That's a great ground. Yeah, this is original stuff. And then you just hacked into it.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, it's a...
And look at the grounds here. You got that going on.
They just got wire wrapped around a nut here.
And then like they hacked into the original stuff. This is the original box. We do all the LS stuff and stuff like that. These things would be popping left and right.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is the interior's got to come apart for the job, right?
Yeah.
His goal is reliability.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize how big of a role wiring plays in reliability. I just want the car reliable. It's like, I'm sorry, but you have to rewire the car for that. That's a big expense. $4,000, $5,000, depending on the vehicle, you know, the harness and then the amount of labor hours, all the accessories that it has, whatever it is. It's unfortunately a big expense, but when you've got 70-year-old wiring like that 55 that we did a while back, it was on the original 6-volt wiring. And the car had been converted to 12. We told the customer, start saving your money. This car is going to need to be rewired.
It's probably going to catch fire.
Yeah, we warned him. It's got a couple fire hazards here. They say no because, you know, I understand it's a big expense. And then 2 weeks later, he called us and he said, I had a fire. And it was a really scary experience because I saw smoke. Luckily, I was right outside my house. I ran over with my fire extinguisher and I started trying to put it out and it wouldn't go out because it was a main power wire. A small cable from one of these kick panel vents had rubbed through and it was basically welding that cable to the body, and until you disconnect the main power you have that ignition source. So the fire extinguisher did nothing for him, and he was smart enough to pull it. I got to hand it to him. He handled it well and he saved the car. Didn't even have to repaint it. It just needed to be cleaned up. But there was probably a good, 30, 45 seconds of just sheer panic and terror when he was like, oh, my car's on fire and I'm spraying it with this fire extinguisher and it ain't going out. All right.